Welcome back to Corporate Fuckery, stories of survival, psychological warfare, and choosing what's best for you. I'm your host, Lauren DeGolia, success coach, subconscious strategist, astrologer, technologist, and your favorite boardroom truth teller. This season, we're exploring the anatomy of powerhouse women, what she's made of, what she's learned, and how she's rewriting the rules of power on her own terms. These are the women who blend resilience with rebellion, who turn burnout into breakthroughs, and who remind us that power isn't something you chase, it's something you reclaim. Today's guest is the embodiment of what it means to start again, with courage, compassion, and a dash of creative rebellion. She's a CEO, a clinical hypnotherapist, a neurolinguistic practitioner, and a certified life and success coach, all while raising 2 boys as a single mom. After her divorce, she saw a gap in how we celebrate life's transitions. We throw parties for weddings and babies, but not for the moments that demand real bravery. So she built something revolutionary with her sister, Fresh Starts Registry, the first of its kind platform helping people rebuild after major life changes, from divorce and job loss to grief and reinvention. Her work has been featured in Forbes, The Wall Street Journal, The Cut, New York Magazine, and The New York Post. She is the co-host of a Fresh Story podcast, the creator of the VASE or VASE method, and a relentless advocate for normalizing the messiness of change. Whether she's leading empowerment groups, creating viral resources like Yentalist, or showing up online as the realest version of herself, she proves that starting over isn't failure, it's freedom. Welcome, Olivia Howell. I know it's hard for women to toot their own horns, but I really desire for this season to be about powerhouse women stepping into this is why I'm a badass. So tell us a little bit about yourself and why and what makes you a powerhouse woman in your eyes.
I love this question, Lauren. And you have always been a safe person for me to say a lot of my big, bold ideas. So I appreciate you for that. Um, I would say that I'm an inventor, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a dreamer, and I like to create solutions for things that are human life issues and make it easier for people, right? So I'm a connector at heart. I love to matchmake in everything except romantic relationships. I'm truly horrible at romantic relationship matchmaking. But when it comes to experts and people or business to business, whatever it is, I have that full Rolodex in my soul, and I can hook you up with whoever you need. I don't forget a face or a name. Perhaps that is the old Yenta energy from my ancestors. And I'm really, really good at that. I'm also really creative, and I love to tell people that in the careers I've had, so as a marketing expert with a global agency that was 6 figures, as a publicist, as a writer, now as an entrepreneur, I've had no schooling in any of that. Any of that. My background's in classical studies and sociology, which I do use a lot of the sociology. Not to be honest, some of the classical studies. And I was a teacher with no education background. So I like to remind people that you can pursue whatever makes you happy. And as long as you are open to feedback and education from people, and you're kind hearted and you lead with a heart open approach, you can learn. And I'm just really proud of where I've come in the last 20 years business wise, because I never would have thought of myself as a business owner or an entrepreneur, and I've been paving the way for myself for almost 15 years.
It's really incredible. I know that part of our relationship over the last, I'm going to say 4 years, it feels like
Yeah.
close to 4 at this point,
Yeah,
has
it is.
really been mirroring that for each other. Seeing the trajectory of what's possible for you. And I think where corporate fuckery gets it wrong is just the wanting to put you in a box that feels so foreign, and yet you're trying to justify. So what is your take on, if we're talking to the corporate woman right now that's like, I feel like a powerhouse. I know that I'm meant for more. I desire to make a bigger impact or have a ripple effect. What is the Olivia Howell version of learning how to step into and or finding those women in your world?
A lot of women are horrible. I'm just gonna say that. There's Oh,
Please tell
there's
us more about that. So give people
there's
context because I
yeah.
know of anyone I
No, I'm
know that
kidding. I love women.
no. I actually think this is a very key distinction here because
Yeah.
not all women are for women.
No. And that comes up a lot in the business world over and over. And I'll give you some examples, but I would say that, and I have a lot of people ask me, like, what's your business tip? How have you gotten, like, working with celebrities and on TV and all these things? Kindness. I lead with kindness in everything I do. I actually sent an email. I haven't even told you this, Lauren, an email to a big website, a blogger that had rejected covering Fresh Starts when we started. Okay. And so I emailed her. It came to me, I had a Lauren nudge in the middle of the night. I thought, oh, I'm going to do this. I emailed her, and the subject line is, well, this is awkward. And I basically went on to tell her in the email that it was awkward at this point that they haven't covered Fresh Starts because everybody else has. And I did it with cheekiness and I did it with kindness, right? What's she going to say? I annoyed her? What's the worst that could happen? Right? But when you kind of lead with humor and you lead with kindness, and I give back all of the time. So I'm constantly helping people if they need a contact, a podcast, a person, a book, if they need promotion for something, with love and boundaries, I do that a lot. What I found, there's two specific areas that women do not like to support women. One is in the investment world. And we went down, my sister and I, who are co-founders, went down the path of looking for investment when we first launched Fresh Starts. And women do not like to help women. And there's a lot of reasons for this. I think that once some women get to the top, they take on a lot of the qualities of the men that are at the top, and they don't want to help other women. Some women say they are really for women, and they really aren't. So that was a really big wake-up call because I am a woman's woman. I'm a girl's girl. I will help any woman around me. And I was like, wow, we're really doing this, like, bitchiness thing in 2022 or whatever. And sadly, the other world is the divorce world. There's really nasty women in the divorce world. I am a divorce writer. I write about divorce all the time. There are a handful of divorce writers and memoirists, Laura knows because I've told her about this, that are not friendly. They do not talk to me. They treat me like a girl at the other lunch table that they don't want to engage with. There have been writers that have written about divorce registries and all these things, and I will engage with them on social media, and they will not talk to me. And it took me a while to switch the perspective there of where, like, they're jealous, right? Like, they see that I'm becoming something bigger and bolder and more comprehensive than just a memoirist. And okay, you can be jealous of me, but I'm not going to waste time on women that are not kind. So I truly believe from the bottom of my heart, if you can lead with kindness in your business, you will always succeed.
Yeah, and I would agree with you. And I have experienced that in the corporate world time and time again. And one of my biggest go-to currencies was kindness. Literally getting to know people,
Yeah.
having a connective point that was meaningful. And we know that this is relationship and rapport building 101. And especially in this day and age, most people don't do it. So if we talk about what the cost of that is over time, then we're actually missing out on quite a bit. And it's funny, what comes to my mind is a little bit of a vulnerable story. And I'm going to kind of, knowing that you're a podcast host, let you ask me questions here too, because we're just going with the flow today here. But there's a woman that brings out, I'm going to just go with a lower energetic aspect of me. And I happen to get triggered as fuck when I see her. And I don't see her very often, but even my husband said a couple months ago when we ran into her after 5 years of not seeing her one-on-one, he was like, "You're never at a loss for words." And what I just witnessed was like nothing I've ever seen of my wife of 20 years. So it's really interesting when you're not leading from that place of kindness and you're not leading from that open-heartedness, and you encounter one of these, we'll just call them lower vibe women, like, it
Yeah.
brings you down.
It doesn't. It makes me immediately go, what's wrong with me?
Exactly.
Right. And it throws me back to middle school. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm the weird girl again. Right. Whereas I know I really in real life am the cool girl. And I will say this too, before we move on. that I think there's a big discrepancy between what people are perceived as on social media
Mhm,
and what they really are when you talk to them.
mhm,
So there have been women that I've been fiercely jealous of their journey.
mhm.
And I'm like, oh, I want to be her. And then I'll talk to her on a podcast and she's like, just a big dork like I am. Like, and it's interesting that a lot of people, I think, hide behind a very strong, kind of like stone faced, right, social media persona, but really they're just kind of smaller vibe people, perhaps.
Yeah. And so the work then becomes like not subscribing to the middle school bullshit. Like the work then, as a woman who is open hearted and kind, because that's where corporate fuckery, like in life, business, and otherwise career, like runs rampant, right? We get swirled up in the middle school mentality, and then that's all we live and know. And that's where you, I think, in the social media streets that you spend a lot of your time in, are like women can be horrible. And the same at the boardroom level, like same. So how do we shift that so that the cost of the ambition that we desire on the inside gets us to where we want to go without feeling like what's wrong with me? Everyone hates me.
Well, I think so much of it is surrounding yourself with people like you, Lauren, right, who truly do want to lift you up and support you. And, as an ambitious woman, as somebody that, whether it's you or, me or another woman, if you have dreams and ambitions that are different maybe than other people have, you have to surround yourself with people who will just cheer you on.
Mhm.
Because if you have anybody going, you're going to start to doubt yourself, right? And so it's really hard to find these people, I will say that, because there's a very small intersection of the people who will cheer you on and whose feedback you also trust, right?
100%.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. And you're one of those people for me, Lauren, right? So if I said to you, like, we're going to go to the moon, you'd be like, I love you, but I don't know if that's realistic for right now, right?
Uh,
Whereas I've said things to you like, I want to do a book tour, I want to do this thing. And you're like, great, how can I support you? And I think, um, I remember when I met Julie Costa years ago, who we both did Anchored. I met her, I don't know, 7 years ago at this point, and it threw me. I actually resisted her in the beginning, and she knows this, so I'm open to talking about it. Because she came on, we did just a coffee chat, and she said to me, "How can I support you?" And I was like, "Oh, sure, okay." Like, she's really like somebody that's gonna support me. And I resisted that because I wasn't used to another woman saying that. Right. And she actually is, and obviously we adore her, and she is somebody that really supports people, but I wasn't used to that. And so it
yeah.
made me feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And so sometimes you have to feel people out a little bit, right? Like offer to support them, see how they respond to you. But you do need to find your people, and that can be online, right? That doesn't have to be in person. Most of mine are online. I just happened to meet Lauren in person because she flew here and I got to have lunch with her. But um it's hard, but that's the only way that you're going to do it. And the other thing I will say too, Lauren, sorry to cut you off, is I don't look at competition. I never look at I don't even believe in competition. I literally don't believe in it because what we are building, what we do is unlike anything else. There are other people who see us as competition.
Mm.
And so I don't look at them.
Yeah.
And so sometimes things will come up and people will be like, "Did you see this person was like kind of stole your stuff or was talking about, the same thing you're talking about?" And I was like, "I didn't see it because I don't look at them."
Yeah.
Like I'm so head down in what we're building, which sometimes is not always the best thing, but it makes me not spend energy on things I don't have to.
Yeah, and that's where my brain just went to, because the same applies in the corporate structure, right? Where we are literally compared roles to roles, levels to levels. You're supposed to be like them. You're not supposed to be like them. Your role is supposed to be this way. So everyone literally is your competition, and you get spun up in the like, how do I navigate this? And this is where I think a lot of people, women especially, are giving a lot of energy to that
Mhm.
validation, that external validation of, oh, am I
Yeah.
seen? Oh, am I understood? Or are you perceiving me the right way? And you can spend so much of your life subscribing to that model and get yourself absolutely nowhere and feel actually less than over time. And so what advice would you give someone who's kind of in that narrative? Because I know business owners struggle here too, right? So we have people that share this same kind of middle school mentality of
Yep.
how we're navigating feeling seen and understood and validated. But like what would the what how would you encourage the powerhouse woman listening to this to navigate this in a way that feels meaningful to her?
I would say it's really important to find the things that you can speak authentically about and speak authentically about them. Right. So not everybody is going to have the same level of comfortability on visibility. Right. I'm a musical theater kid who has no fear about speaking in public or talking on stage or being on social media, or if people perceive me wrong on
Hmm.
social media. My sister is thankfully sometimes very concerned with the way people perceive us right online. So I'll say something and she's like, I know you meant this, but people are going to see it this way. And so her level of visibility, comfort level is not the same as mine, right?
Okay.
I'll pretty much do anything on the internet and she will not. So I would say what got me there was having the 5 topics that I just will talk to anybody at any time. Basically, no strings attached about, right? So it's like I could talk to you about divorce and I'm going to be authentic and I'm going to tell the truth. Sometimes I'm way too honest with things. But that's what's turned the needle for people trusting me
Mhm.
and then building a community around that. So I get a lot of people asking me like, how do you go viral so much and how all your posts go viral? Blah, blah. I don't do things looking to go viral ever, like never. What I do is I think, if I was in this situation, then probably somebody else was in this situation. I am a really good writer. I've been writing fiction since I was 15. So for me to write a bunch of tweets, I've been on Twitter since 2009, write tweets or threads or whatever, that's natural for me. So when I put those up on social media and people are like, I've never seen anybody else talk about this, and they immediately feel connected to me, that's for me more important than anything. And then that just keeps going and going. So if you are a powerhouse woman and you're looking to really make that impact, you need to find the things that you have no issues talking about. I mean, like that you can just say without blushing and post without worrying about. And then the right people will show up to feel seen and heard from that.
100%. And the same goes with leadership, right? Like to be a
Mm-hmm.
powerhouse woman, regardless of what level of any organization or business
Yeah.
that you're at, like you are a built-in leader. And knowing where you stand in your self leadership as well as your external leadership is really, really important. And I remember having my first round of interns when I worked at Nordstrom and I was in the tech organization there. And I had this empathetic side of myself, even in that structure. And my intern came to me and she was like, Lauren, I don't like it. This isn't making sense. I don't know what to do. And to be a brand new tech employee female in this environment is like next level fuckery because like none of it made
Yeah.
sense to her, right? Like this isn't what I signed up for. And I'll never forget. And I mean, I can see her so clearly. I actually also remember her name, which is rare for me. But to be able to see her, like really see her, like that was always my leadership style. And then to
Right.
coach her and mentor her in a way that was like, hey. And so I see that I have had this corporate fuckery part of me of wanting to tell the truth and wanting to see the truth and highlight the truth for a really long time. So for any powerhouse woman listening to this, like there's nothing you have to go out and solve for yourself. Like you have this innately built into you.
100%. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a couple more questions and then
Let's do it.
let's see where we go. So, what bold permission would you give another woman listening right now in terms of open-heartedness, kindness, any of the other topics we've covered today?
I would say that you get to structure your life and your work however you want,
Mhm.
right? So, for me as a single mom, I work when my kids are at school and then I'll work sometimes in the evening, but I'm the only one here helping with homework and things like that. So, I get to structure my life the way that I want to structure my life. And it means that I'm pretty much on calls from 9 to 3. And then at night, I do my writing and on weekends. And I luckily have a business partner that we understand each other's strengths and weaknesses. So she knows that once a quarter, I need to take off some time to do some writing in a coffee shop. And she's in Italy right now with her husband, right? So it's like we give each other that space. Um, but I think that the biggest thing too is like we are so accustomed to thinking about corporate life or entrepreneurship as like women in blazers, right? We're all these women in blazers and high heels. I don't own high heels. I don't own a blazer. I wear sweatpants most days. I wear big, rock and roll t-shirts. I wear high tops. Like there's a different way to do things in this day and age. I still am just as powerful as anybody else, right? So I think it's okay to think outside the box when it comes to leadership and entrepreneurship and being a powerhouse woman. But if you can't step into feeling confident in that role, whatever you're wearing, whatever your schedule is like, you're never going to feel like a powerhouse.
It's so true. I own enough blazers for the both of us, by the way, and
Thank you.
heels.
Thank you.
So all good
Thank
there.
you. You're a little taller than me, but thank you.
I am, but that's okay. We love that about each other.
Yeah.
So, kind of to round out our conversation about being a powerhouse woman and thinking about, where you've come from and who you are currently, and just future casting a little bit, like how do you think about your legacy and the trade-offs that you're making to protect your legacy as you continue to embody this powerhouse side of you? Like, how do you
Mm.
how do you think about all that and where you're going and what you're creating?
It's so interesting that you mentioned all of that. One of the harder aspects of this becoming more well known is the best way to put it. But like, I'm not well known, but like, on social media, I have a lot of followers and people like, I know Lauren, but like, I can't go, it's not like I'm going out into like Huntington and people are like, oh my God, it's Olivia. But building a public persona, I will say,
Mhm.
I worked a lot with my therapist for a while, a couple of years ago. Christine, shout out to Christine. We both know.
Shout out, Christine. We love you. We would
Yep.
not be here today without you, sis.
It's true. On how do you become a famous person? How do you become a public person? Nobody teaches you that.
Mhm.
And I struggled. I struggled a little bit because I have kids that I don't want in the public figure necessarily, or in the public, eye. And I have a whole relationship with my ex-husband that I don't want in the public eye. So how do I become an open, vulnerable, authentic person and have a private life? And that's something that is tricky. It's
Mhm.
tricky to figure out. You do have to have like a duality to your personality, and I don't think it's for everybody. It's
Mhm.
definitely for me because I put on my theater kid a little bit when I'm
Mhm.
like, presenting and I'm networking and stuff. And then if you saw me when I shut my laptop down at night, I am in bed watching Bewitched with lemonade. I am as low key as possible. Um, so I think that that's an interesting aspect because that's not necessarily for everybody in the same capacity. But if you are a corporate leader or an entrepreneur who's going to networking things, you are going to have a public persona and a private persona. And that's something that you might need to figure out and work through. Um, and then for future casting, I think what I have come to realize is that I see so clearly what the future of business is for me. It's so funny. I had a dream about, I guess it was right when we launched Fresh Starts, but like we had just launched. And so we really didn't know what was going to come of that. And I had a very vivid dream that I was walking down the street in a yellow dress hosting a television show. And I remember waking up and I was like, hosting a television show? I was like, what the hell am I going to do with this? Like, I'm not, that's not me. Like, I'm not a host of a television show. And then like a year later, we had a TV show come, approach us and to develop something. And now I'm like, I have a show that I'm ready to put together in the next couple of years. Things like putting on a book, but everything I've done has been breadcrumbs, right, to other things. And I just have to trust that. And I think so much of my future casting is actually circling back around and trusting myself, right? And I will say before we go to, when you use the term powerhouse woman, the image that comes to mind for me is literally a woman that builds a house, right? That has other women that comes inside. And like my whole thing, and like Jenny and I, is always we build a longer table. We always build a longer table, right? There's always more room. And so, like, that's what being a powerhouse woman is to me. Because when you can put your ego aside and actually help other people and give, and then get, you can be a powerhouse. But you really can't authentically be a powerhouse if you're putting yourself before other people.
Amen. And twice on Sunday to that. Thank you. We'll just
Thank you.
pause there for a sec. So it's essentially like ditching the middle school mentality
Yeah.
and showing up in service. How do you do that, Olivia, as your closing thought here? How do you do that when most powerhouse women feel like their cup is constantly empty, that there's not enough for even their own preservation of self?
That's a great question. I actually just posted something yesterday that reminded me of this about rest. I've been writing about rest and exhaustion when I probably should be sleeping. But I think, when you talk about that, my head actually goes back to early people in history, right? And often I will say that I never wanted to be in a job, and I say this about my children too, that my ancestors couldn't have done themselves. So I'm a healer, right? I'm a helper. I'm a community member. If all technology went away tomorrow, I would still be helping people through life transitions, right? You would still be helping women figure out their voice and through life transitions. It's almost like the whole thing was like you should eat what your great grandparents ate, right? Like the clean food, right? And this is a very long-winded answer to you, but that's what it goes back to for me is like, yes, your cup may be full, but can you just sit next to somebody? Like, can you just sit at a table with them? Can you be in a Zoom with them? Can you co-work with them? Can you just send them a text and say, I know how hard you're working, right? You do this to me all the time, Lauren, right? Like, I know how hard you're working, just sending you love, right? That you can do. If you start making that a practice, it's going to come back to you. And then it's going to snowball.
Yeah. It's like compound interest. Like you actually get more back if you can just take a breath for yourself in the moment and send the energy out that you want.
It's
and then
the
you
breath.
Get right back.
Yeah. Yes. But I also think we overestimate how much we have to do, right? It's like, oh my God, it's my best friend's birthday. I didn't send her a huge thing from Amazon. It's like, okay, you can just text her and say, I love you. I'm so glad you're in my life. That's going to mean more to her than the other thing, right? Or whatever it is. Yeah. Checking on your employees, being a leader, hosting free networking groups. I know there's a woman on Threads who does late night co-working sessions for stay-at-home moms so they can work. Like there's little things like that you can start building that powerhouse around you. Because you're never going to get your cup full if you don't have other people in your life.
Amen. Perfect exit opportunity here. Thank you for all of that, Olivia. I couldn't agree with you more. Tell the good people, the lovely women on here, what kind of resources you offer and how you put that out into the world, because I think that that's a beautiful segue into how you offer support.
Sure. Well, we have freshstartsregistry.com, which has two components to it. You have the free divorce support and resources. So you can come browse our 150 experts. You can get in touch with them. We do not gatekeep. That's another part of being a powerhouse woman is you don't gatekeep things from other people. We never gatekeep, and we also are vehemently opposed to charging people who are going through a divorce for anything. So all of our guidebooks, all of our resources are free. I offer free one-on-one consultations with anybody navigating divorce for 15 minutes on Zoom. It is the best thing that I've ever done business-wise, the best thing. I was on a call with a woman today who was sobbing the entire time, not because she was upset, but because she could not believe that she was getting support finally. And I, thankfully being a trained life coach and divorce coach, I could sit there and I'm calm and I get to say, it's going to be fine. We're going to get through this. So there's that side. And then if you are a divorce professional, we have an amazing membership that you can come on board and you can get referrals, you can get media opportunities, and you can get business coaching and co-working. And it's a fantastic, beautiful community of people on that side. So we really have two major sides to the company, and both of them are thriving. And we're just so excited about taking this into the future and continuing. I keep saying I want to make divorce boring. Divorce should not be something that people gasp about, right? This is just another life change, but it is the second most stressful life change adults go through, next to the death of a spouse. Actually, second and third are divorce and separation. So we need to provide resources for this, and in the corporate world, they need to be talking about this. So I always say, if you need anything, you can direct message me. I'm literally at Olivia Howell, which is very easy. And I respond to every message, and we'll get you the support that you need.
And you do. And you
I do.
She's
Yeah.
not the woman that's the middle schooler that just flashes the fancy words and then doesn't show up.
No.
Olivia, thank you for sharing your powerhouse light with us today. I am truly grateful to know you, to love you, to support you, and I just appreciate you being here.
Well, thank you. I'm always here to support you and cheer you on, and I could not be more proud of this podcast and what you're doing.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. What I love most about this conversation is that Olivia reminded us that power isn't loud, it's kind. She showed us that being a powerhouse woman isn't about how much you can hold, it's about how openly you can lead. It's about how ditching the middle school mentality, creating room at your table, and remembering that the most generous thing you can do for your future is to stay kind, even when it's easier not to. The real takeaway here: you don't need to wear a blazer or have a title to be powerful. You just need to remember that your softness is strategy, your boundaries are leadership, and your kindness is your edge. If you love this conversation, be sure to check out Fresh Start's Registry and a Fresh Story podcast. Both are linked in the show notes below. And if you're navigating a brave life change on your own, Olivia and Jenny's platform is one of the most heartfelt places to start. Until next time, stay kind, stay powerful, and keep choosing what's best for you.